Hi, and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, and today we are looking at a very special episode of Love Doesn't Judge. While Ellie calibrates, I would like to thank everyone for clicking on this video, and I would like to give extra thanks to my patrons and channel members. Insert general YouTube spiel about liking and subscribing, and let's get into it. For those who don't know, RealFemSapien is, well, I'm not really sure how to describe her channel anymore. First it seemed to be Red Pill, then Manosphere, and now she seems to be trying to pivot to get more female viewers, and her current tagline is, Good Girls Get the Ring. Love Doesn't Judge seems to be a newer channel, and per their bio, meet the couples who get judged every day because of who they fell in love with. When you're in an unconventional relationship, your friends, family, and the rest of society can be quick to judge. But people can't help who they fall in love with, and they can't stop others from judging them either. Love Don't Judge is an inspiring and uplifting series about real couples who are thriving, despite pressure from the outside world. I'm not really sure how RFS and her husband ended up here. How was their relationship unconventional? Stay-at-home wives aren't new and they're not that rare. Or is it the age difference? But I'm scripting this intro after the rest of the video, and they didn't talk about that much. Mainly, it seems to be about how her husband pays her to stay home, which is an unusual way to describe a marriage, but really, no one would care how they conducted their marriage if one of them wasn't constantly trying to shame other women into emulating their relationship. Let's get into it.
This is Alyssa. She fell in love with Tom.
My husband employs me to take care of the home, and I encourage other women to pursue the same dynamic for their future financial success.
Did she fall in love with him, or did she fall in love with his wallet? This phrasing is so strange to me. Why is she equating marriage with an employee-employer relationship?
If you're a feminist at this point in time, you're a clown, right? There are feminists on Reddit who hate me, most of which are single over the age of 30.
That's a lot of assumptions, but RFS makes the mistake of thinking woman automatically equals feminist, even though she should definitely know better. But I would love to hear her explanation for why these feminists on Reddit hate her.
They called me a white supremacist.
I'm going to need a source for that. It is kind of amazing though. Reddit post bothered RFS so much she told her husband about it. I wonder if she also told him about how she was posting about herself while pretending not to be herself.
Our friend is coming over to get to the bottom of what his opinion of our relationship is.
I don't view marriage as an economic relationship. That's just not how I would ever choose to describe it. It's a spiritual relationship.
I agree, and that's why I find these comparisons to employment so strange. I'm not going to feel the same way about my spouse as I do my employer. I don't know if her brain was poisoned by too much capitalism or the lines blurred because, as I understand it, he was above her in the military, so kind of like her employer, or if she thinks equating marriage to a job will convince women to give up paid employment for being a stay-at-home spouse, but it's just so strange. Please don't. Capitalism has ruined enough. Can we please not turn relationships into transactions too?
Okay, so
It's a spiritual relationship.
Okay.
We were at the same work for a while, and I ended up becoming single, and I thought he was very attractive. So I shot my shot, and apparently it landed because now I'm married and I have a baby on the way.
We've been together, what, 2.5 years?
Now, wait a second. This is her second marriage, and they've been together for 2.5 years, and she's offering relationship advice? I have a hard time taking this seriously, but everyone, please, I assure you, your $250 will be better spent elsewhere.
So we were engaged, and I was going to school. I was also working, but I thought that he was wanting a little bit more attention to the house, to the home, and also, to himself. So I had a sneaking suspicion that it might benefit our relationship if I stayed home.
She had a sneaking suspicion? Why didn't they just talk about it?
I didn't even know I wanted a traditional relationship. I, honest to God, thought that I wanted a physicist triathlete. So until I got into a relationship with Ellie, I didn't even know how wonderful having a traditional relationship where there were gender separations.
The agreement was that if I sucked at being a homemaker, that I would go back to work, but I did not suck. I wouldn't say I'm a feminist at all.
And we were all shocked.
I think that feminism was all bad. Men love women so much that they would have liberated us after they were fully liberated anyway.
So she agrees that women's lib did need to happen. Women just should have waited for the men to liberate themselves, and then the men could liberate women? what's wrong with women liberating themselves? I'm just going to come right out and say I think it's incredibly weird when people proclaim a love for a particular gender. I can tell you I don't hate men, but I'm not going to say I love them either. It's a case-by-case basis, same with women. I don't hate women, but I don't love them either. And given the historical attitude of men towards women, not to mention current attitudes, how does she figure men love women? There are absolutely men who understand that women are also complex individuals, but again, what is wrong with women liberating themselves?
I am just of the opinion that feminism was completely unnecessary and that it's a female supremacy movement.
Your opinion doesn't change what feminism actually is. And to be honest, I suspect she says this because there's money and attention, which is another form of currency, especially when one has a YouTube channel, in being a woman against feminism.
You're just in it for the steak and eggs. So I do most of the cooking and cleaning. I do most of the laundry as well. He works for a long time. Sometimes it's 10 hours a day. So I just take care of the house while he's gone.
So to be clear, if someone wants to work 10-hour days, that's great. If someone wants to stay home, that's also great. But I hope he works that much because he wants to and not because he's the sole income earner and he has to.
I earn more now married than I did when I was in the military, and it's the best job I've ever had. I would probably be considered on his bankroll. He pays for my living. There's a health insurance plan.
You're on your husband's bankroll? Is it just me, or is that a kind of cold way to describe your relationship?
I basically said, hey, look, how much money do you need per week to do fun things? She said, I need $100 for my snacks and my coffee. And I'm like, okay. We got rid of all of her credit cards. We opened up new credit cards under my account. And so now I can see all of her purchases, and she's very disciplined.
So yes, he is 23 years older than her, but that is not why I say it sounds as though he's speaking about a daughter who's just learning about responsible spending habits.
I don't want to drain my husband. I know some wives, they don't have a conscience with that, but I would prefer if I never had to look at a screen about dollars ever.
If that's what she wants, that's fine, and it's great that she found a relationship where she never has to think about money. But why has she made it her mission to convince other women they should live this way?
Today I'm going shopping, obviously on Tom's dime.
She really doesn't ask for a whole lot of stuff that she doesn't need. She's pretty financially disciplined.
Okay, I'm starting to wonder if this is an advertisement for men about how great and low maintenance a trad wife can be.
The alternative is going to an actual job with an actual boss. Keep in mind that's a man that doesn't care about you.
Why does she assume the boss is a man? I've also had male bosses, and they can care about their employees. It depends on the job and the person.
You clock in, you clock out, you're not on his mind, he would fire you tomorrow. My husband is not going to fire me tomorrow.
Well, he could fire you. I think that would be called divorce. But I don't understand what's so wrong with having a job. Sure, I would rather be at home doing things I enjoy, but how would one spouse quitting their job and the other having to work be fair? And I'm pretty sure you don't get to clock in or out with your marriage. You're always on call.
I think that it's much more romantic than that, but if we have to call it labor, it's not the worst job out there.
I haven't received anything but positive feedback from my friends.
They're probably high-fiving you, you know?
Well, okay, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, there is a lot of that, right? Because all my buddies are in their late 40s, early 50s like myself, and they're like, damn, dude, you got a 27-year-old? I'm like, mm-hmm.
There's been controversy surrounding the age gap. I am 28 years old.
I'm 51.
I think my mom was really worried. I was wondering, how did you really feel when I started dating Tom?
Just a little skeptical because of the age difference, but
you can tell us what you really thought.
I didn't think it was going to go. I thought it was just,
So you thought we were going to break up or something?
Maybe. I don't yeah, I guess.
Did you not want it to last? It's okay if you didn't.
It's either way. I couldn't predict.
How do you feel about me spreading my messages online?
They're a little controversial, but
I wonder how much her mother knows about her message.
I don't like the comments that some people make. I would just want to go in there and go,
Online, I would say that I get the most judgment because I'm a content creator.
It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, how many views you get, there will always be someone leaving ridiculous comments.
A woman wanting to work is very different. Why are male sexual appetites suppressed?
If you're a feminist at this point in time, you're a clown, right?
There's a lot of assumptions, right? I do this for a brand. I do this because I'm uneducated. I do this because I'm lazy. And then, there's that fun racial element. My favorite racial joke that I've gotten was lady in the streets colonized in the sheets. I thought that was really creative.
They also called me a white supremacist. And I was like, okay, I'm dating a Latina woman and I'm a white supremacist.
I'm just going to jump in here and note that the manosphere does have issues with racism, as does the trad wife movement. In fact, that is one of the things that differentiates a trad wife from a stay-at-home wife.
There are feminists on Reddit who hate me, most of which are single over the age of 30. I just want women to know that they have other options out there.
Does she think women don't know about stay-at-home wives? Also, it's not feminism that says women must be paid employees. The reason feminists stress the importance of employment is because in the world we currently live in, money is everything. Freedom, safety, opportunity. Without it, you have to rely on someone who has money. And that is a precarious situation to be in.
Sometimes I've been accused of being a gold digger.
She asked for $100 a week. What kind of gold digger wants that?
I don't think she's a gold digger, but it is strange to say that you paid for a vacation by being feminine.
Actually, there's a lot of positive comments from women who feel like they've finally been seen. It's the positive comments that I get from women in that context that really let me know that I'm doing the right thing.
Okay, but I thought she was doing this because it felt right to her, because it was what she and her husband wanted. Why does it matter if other people agree with it?
Our friend is coming over to get to the bottom of what his opinion of our relationship is.
I'm going to be honest and say it seems pretty weird to ask your friends for your opinions on your relationship, especially once you're married. Isn't it a little late?
I know that she has a YouTube channel and that it's pretty successful. From what I understand, she sells the idea that you don't necessarily have to be a professional, that it's okay to be a housewife.
I don't think he's seen any of her videos.
Do you think it's wrong for Alyssa to be employed by Tom?
Here's what I think. Hey, here's my offer. I will provide you a home, a house, protection, and provision. What I ask for in return is support, a clean house, so that I can go out into the world and focus on the external world.
Given that he said he didn't think he wanted a traditional relationship until RFS came along, I'm calling it now. She sat him down and explained how it would work, and that's where he got all this from.
I just think that it's the right thing to do to give you a return on investment. If you have to put it in economic terms, fine, but it's just doing the right thing in a marriage. You take care of me, I take care of you. It's a good bankroll to be on.
I do think spouses should take care of one another. Theoretically, you married because you care about each other, but then she has to throw in the whole bankroll thing, and it's just...
I don't view marriage as an economic relationship. I know that you can analyze it that way.
Just to clarify, how I described it, that's an economic mode.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
but-
that's an
yeah.
economic way of
Okay,
describing
because
it.
I didn't know that I was describing it that way.
No, it is.
There is an economic relationship there. That's just not how I would ever choose to describe it. You make a commitment to that other person, right? So that commitment isn't about like, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z in exchange for ABC. You're gonna miss the big picture.
Well, she's nodding in agreement, so...
I've only ever really used an economic lens because, like, literally women would rather, some women these days,
Nice save.
they're just completely content to follow the leadership of an employer that doesn't care about them. And if you were to tell them that they could depend on a good man financially, they just would rather stay at that job instead of having to cooperate, I would even say, with a man.
Is she aware that when she says cooperate, it sounds as though she's talking about a hostage situation rather than a husband-wife relationship? But this is not the first time she says something like this or similar. Something about how she speaks in corporate terms so women will understand or some such. And no. Women understand relationships just fine. You do not have to marry relationships with corporations. In fact, I would say most of us would rather you didn't because the two should not be combined. We understand that being a stay-at-home spouse or parent is a thing that exists. There are just those of us who don't want to for reasons of our own, or those of us who want to but can't. It is not because we don't know such a thing exists or don't understand how it would work.
So, trying to save these women.
Save them from what? A 401k?
So, these ungrateful women.
A big corporation ain't ever gonna care about you,
Yeah.
okay? Like your spouse, there's a chance.
I'd boil it down to biology. You're never gonna take away the genetics and the biology of it. Because I am in my masculine and I'm able to go out and provide the resources, I feel great.
I think most modern relationships are unhappy. I think men act like women. I think women act like men. And when they get together, they have a really unbalanced dynamic.
Okay, so if going out into the world and doing things is masculine, is RFS not being masculine when she's traveling around the States, going on podcasts to school women on how feminism is bad and they need to be feminine?
I think the entire culture that we have right now in America wants you to be single, fat, depressed, and childless. So if you are going to be counter to that, it's going to be a rough go.
We have a relationship with ourselves that make us relatively happy, and then we come together and then we have a happy marriage.
I don't know what we just watched, but it was both boring and strange. And I was watching Tom's friend's face throughout the last dinner scene, and I would love to know what he was thinking. I don't think the people at Love Doesn't Judge are familiar with RFS, but as someone who is, this was a bit funny. She says she does all the housewifely things for a weekly allowance, but she has a career. It might not be a traditional corporate career, but it is a career. She goes on other channels, she travels to speak on podcasts, she hired at least one editor, she's mentioned having a team, which would indicate a payroll, so she's not your typical housewife. Far from it, in fact, which is one of the reasons I object so much to these women. While Bernadine, Abby, Pearl, RFS, and so on are telling women they need to stay home to be in their feminine role and they'll be happier that way, they're making money by telling people that. They're offering their opinions to the world on their channels, making money independent of their spouses, while telling other women they need to be kept at home. Most women aren't going to be able to do what these women do. Most women probably wouldn't want to, for that matter. But the loudest voices are the ones that have safety nets, and I don't worry about them. I do, however, worry about the women who silently absorb these messages and don't have platforms. I've seen what happens when women submit to the wrong man, and even the right man can become the wrong man in time. And what happens then, with no money and little to no work history? If you want to be a stay-at-home spouse, that's fine, but I don't understand why they've decided to make a career out of telling women that's what they need to do to make their marriages successful, and I also don't understand why they either ignore or mock the very real issues that can arise from that dynamic. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.